Living off the land is part of the past and has always been romanticized. In recent years, advocates of long-term sustainability have brought these ideas back to the mainstream. However, there is a downside to using only what can be renewed. Nature doesn't always provide enough. In Mongolia, the winter wind blowing down from Siberia is a harsh reality. This makes the capital city, Ulaanbaatar, the coldest capital in the world. It can reach polar temperatures. The Mongolian word zud describes a harsh drought in the summer, followed by an especially cruel winter. Between 1999 and 2003, 8.5 million livestock starved to death in a series of winter storms. This led to 10,000 herding families without livestock or a livelihood. In the past, the government would feed animals in emergency areas, but that service hasn't been available for decades. This is sustainability. No one rides to the rescue.
Those 2 consecutive bad years, first year we didn't have almost no loss. Almost no loss. But next year when we were hit bad, we lost half of our cattle.
Pua Dorsh and his wife Chimgi are 2 herders in the Arhangai region of Mongolia who not only survived the latest zud, they've also adapted to the new dangers and rewards of a free market economy.
They were milking yak. Yak milk fat content is very high. Arhangai, especially Ikhtamir, is very famous with its milk products all over the Mongolia. And it has been tested for centuries and centuries. What we do every day is we get up in the morning, have a tea, and then go out and milk the cows, boy ours on the pasture to look after sheep. We would graze sheep and goats in the same place for 3 days. In March, small animals start, giving birth. Starting around this time, we start selling animals for meat.
1,000 miles to the south, herders live in much the same way, but life is even harder.
What they're doing is moving all the herders. They're out in the middle of nowhere. They're out in the middle of the Gobi Desert. It's just like the herder we've just been talking to. He says, we're like wild men down here in the Gobi. We're having to survive on our own. If we all died, nobody would even know about it, and probably nobody would really care.
As a Western market economy sweeps across Mongolia, herders are leaving more often for the city. During the Soviet era, Russia encouraged a similar migration. In 1989, the Mongolian economy collapsed. Mass starvation was avoided because the remaining herders in the countryside took in their urban relatives. Now, as globalization falters, the cycle is happening again.
It always happens, it's going to happen again here, but the next time it happens, if the urban poor want to move back to the country, it's going to be a lot more difficult for that herding lifestyle to absorb the next group of people that move back there.
In the West, a disruption of our food supply would be even more difficult. For every food producer in the United States, there would be 50 urban relatives looking for handouts.